how would you feel, or what would be a suggestion for people that's dealing with those symptoms of PTSD and learning how to on an everyday basis, I don't want to say cope, but you get what I'm saying.
I do. So I definitely think it's important for a person to kind of like know themselves. And what I mean by that is to have a certain level of awareness of like, okay, what works for them. Because, I can definitely encourage, suggest, and offer the idea of like maybe going to therapy or maybe trying more, um, something such as like meditation and different things like that. But I feel like it really comes down to the person and that person's needs and what they feel like they would benefit the most from. So I would definitely say, of course, going to therapy, or maybe if a person's not really comfortable quite yet with like therapy, perhaps considering like a small group where it's not just them and the therapist, but it's them and maybe other people who are also having the same experience. Or maybe talking to like a close friend that they really, really trust about, just what it is that they're experiencing. So I would definitely say something that allows the person to maybe talk through their experiences and perhaps, maybe connect with other people who have had similar experiences so that they realize like, oh, they're not alone in this experience of, PTSD or trauma or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I definitely think it's important for us to have the awareness that something is taking place, but it's like, okay, well, now what? Now, what can I do, or what am I going to do now moving forward? So I'm such a huge advocate for like going to therapy or meditation and prayer and things like that, just to really get down to, I guess, like the root of certain problems, but how we can take that and kind of uproot it and move forward from it, taking it day by day always.
So that's major right there. Especially, I don't want especially being black in America. Yeah. I was gonna say I don't want to put no race on it, but that's what it is. Because we often, I know as a young black male, we often neglect and we neglect and we like put a lot off.
Yeah.
So we just push it to the back, and then it's like it's built up, but we strong, we the man, you know what I'm saying? So we don't really address it until it's actually it has to be addressed or we forced to.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. So being black in America.
Or I have a question. Oh, I don't want to cut you off.
Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna hold on to it.
just being a human.
Yeah.
And dealing with things that are inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in today's society, and then having to deal with social media and all that too.
Yeah.
Find a way to. I feel like it's important to find a way, finding that balance and keeping that balance, maintaining that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And like she said, know yourself, because once you know who you is, it's like the outside can't influence your internal.
Yeah.
So going back to your question.
Yeah. So so I'm gonna ask the second question that came up first. So you were talking about, having a human experience, but like going through things that are like inhumane, right? And I feel like that is kind of where the problem stems from, is that we've taken certain experiences that really aren't like, that really shouldn't be normal, but because we've experienced them for so long and we see it so often, we're just so exposed to it, it slowly over time starts to become normalized. And when it happens, it's just like we don't think twice about it, because it's just like, oh, that's just how things are, or, that's how it's always been, or maybe that's how it's always going to be. So I think we have to get to a point where we start to challenge the things that we've normalized and really ask ourselves, is this really how my life should be? Or is this really, is this normal? Right. And then, once you start asking yourself that questions, and you start maybe realizing like, oh, like maybe it's not normal. Maybe it's just because of the environment or my experiences. But, I think we have to be mindful not to hold on and attach ourselves to the things that we've like normalized in society and in our lives, because then that can stop us from being like, oh, well, I'm going to create a new narrative. I'm going to do something to see if there's like a contrast to this experience that I'm having and seeing how that is like. So I just wanted to point that out. And then so I guess that wasn't a question. It was just more like, something I wanted to share.
No, it was necessary.
But also in terms of you saying how a lot of like Black men in particular, like, they'll just take stuff and put things to the back of their mind and they'll brush it off until it really starts to build up. I have an idea, but I want to ask you, where do you think that stems from, of like, oh, maybe having this experience or something, but there's constantly just like brushing it off and storing it in the back of their mind somewhere. Like how, I mean, like I said, I feel like I have an idea, but like, where does that?
I feel like, sorry to cut you off. I feel like that comes from, I think the environment is a major influence on that. Because like, around here, growing up like this, we in Compton, for those who don't know. Growing up out here, it's passed down because, like you said, it's normal. I didn't have talks with my uncles and everything. It's like we grow so accustomed to certain things, but if you look at somebody that might have grew up in Beverly Hills, their whole perspective is different.
Yeah.
Or even just you go Compton Watch, and then you get like toward Hawthorne or something. It's somewhat the same, but it's different. Yeah. Or you get, certain of the outskirts. Yeah. It's a little bit different than when you get in these cities like that. It's like the mentality. So I think it's passed down mentality, and then it's like I said earlier, it's pride. Because it's pride, and people don't want to feel embarrassed, or they don't want to be like, oh, this nigga weak. You know what I'm saying? So that it may be more. I can only speak for what I've experienced and gone through. But overall, I feel like it's a environmental thing and upbringing.
Which can be that in itself, environment and upbringing can be so difficult to get through, because those things are what build a person up, and it's how a person is socialized and developed and stuff, and it's in kind of like ingrained in them. So to try to like break through that when it's been so much of like just what a person knows and has known for so long, I can see where that difficulty can come in at, or I can see even where the experience or the decision not to even address it can come from, because it's like, well, this is all I know. Why would I do something different? So I can see how it can be difficult to try to address it and to try to break through it. But at the same time, how a person could not even have the desire to want to do that in the first place, because they're so like, at this point, it's like that's their comfort zone, right? Exactly. And to get a person to break out of their comfort zone is like,
that's the hard thing right there. But see, that's like I'll be seeing a lot. Like we have to unlearn and relearn a lot.
Yeah.
Because like some things we grown accustomed to may not necessarily, or even like with history, like certain things we learn is not what it is. But it's all up to you and what your path is, I guess, or journey you on, and where you're being guided.
Yeah, that's true.
So relating that all the way back to PTSD, I think those who are dealing with that, or those symptoms, at least if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying nothing is wrong with it, but learning how to not allow it to control you to the point where you are hindered. You know what I'm saying? So finding a remedy.
Yeah.
Find your remedy, basically. You know what I'm saying? Find your remedy. What's your remedy? Find it. Whatever you're going through, find your remedy, whether it's PTSD, whatever the case is. And don't be afraid to speak to people, whether it be your peers or have somebody that you could confide in. Find somebody you can confide in, whether it be a mentor, therapist, whatever the case is. It's not wrong. It ain't, you feel me? It's not like you a sucker, or it ain't like, man, forget all that. We adults, and those who are not adults, you will be an adult. It's okay to be yourself.
Yeah.
And healing growth comes from healing. Mm-hmm. If that makes
that does make sense. Yeah. When you heal, you grow.
And you grow out of your comfort zone for the most part. So that's pretty much all I got. Anything else you would like to add?
I do just want to say that awareness is not a diagnosis. And I feel like that's important to say, because I think a lot of times, in this conversation, we obviously went through some symptoms, right, of PTSD. And I think it's important to say that, awareness is not a diagnosis, because a person, listening to the symptoms of what PTSD is, they might resonate with it, but then they might feel even less likely to try to talk to somebody about it or address it, because they feel like, because they connect or they resonate with those symptoms, that now they're being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, right? And it's like, to put a label on something, it's like you feel exposed, or you feel like, wow, like I resonate with this, so I must have this. But I think it's different than having an awareness, right? You can look at these symptoms or symptoms of something else and be like, oh, I resonate with this, or I connect, to this and to this experience. And you have that awareness, and it's not necessarily a diagnosis. It's just, oh, now I'm informed and I have this awareness, and now I have this awareness. So now I can empower myself to maybe seek therapy or to seek help moving forward. So, and it's just in terms of like, going back to the Black community, right? I think that's also can stem from maybe like that denial aspect of it. It's like, okay, they hear these symptoms, right? And they automatically think, oh, somebody's trying to diagnose them with something or tell them about themselves. And then that is like, oh, that pushes them away. And it's a defense mechanism, right? But it's like that stopping, you're feeling attacked because you think somebody's diagnosing you, versus, that person might just be trying to help you become more aware.
Or they may be going through the same thing and just expressing how they do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to say that, because I think it's important for us to understand that, like, just because you have an awareness of something or what you might be experiencing doesn't necessarily mean that you're being diagnosed or you're being labeled as this. It's just, see it as awareness and be like, okay, I have this awareness, and I'm going to empower myself and educate myself and do what I need to do to heal so that I can continue to grow.
Perfect. See, that's exactly why. We're going to end it on that note, man. Love, peace, and power.
Yes.
Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram at the Jordan Danielle. You can find my brand on Instagram at Purpose Unfolded. I do a lot of weekly motivational, inspiring, purposeful content for myself and for others. I have a podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, called the Purpose Unfolded Podcast. Like I said, I'm on a break right now, transitioning into season 2, but you can go check out all 20 past episodes from season 1 and catch up. So when season 2 comes out, you're all ready to go. So yeah, that's me.
We appreciate and thankful having you coming through and sitting down in the Remedy Yard. We're signing out. Y'all know who did it. Y'all know where to find me. Love, peace, and power once again. And catch y'all next time.